Well, just a quick scan. There's nothing Christmassy in here. So, let's go to France. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Myth Explorations. I know, in a slightly more professional setup. Shock horror. And with hopefully slightly more professional edits as well. I hope you're all having a very good Christmas, a very happy Christmas, a very light Christmas, especially given the state of the world at the minute. Today I thought, considering it's kind of the halfway point on our way to the Christmas time, I thought I'd cover a legend today. I know, shows a series called Myth Explorations. Yeah, I'm covering a legend. What's going on? It's still technically a myth. It's sort the way I read it, it sort of reads like a myth that's sort of linked in to a historical character. So let us jump in. The myth we are looking at today is a man called Hans Trapp. I hope I am pronouncing that right. This is when I read this from a few different pages. It's said that they were both. It said it was French/German, and I probably am not good at either pronunciation, just given my my past history. So if I pronounce anything wrong, I am sorry. Dive in. So, if we take the Hans Trapp character first, then we can get into the history part of it. So, Hans Trapp is obviously in a lot of cultures, whatever, cultures and places. There's this anti-Santa. There's always one character that works as like against sort of the Santa ideals, because obviously Santa comes, joy, happiness, presents, sacks. Wish I chose a better way of phrasing that. But yeah, so he sort of does all. So that's the good happy Santa. Then you've got the bad ones, the Krampus, which we'll be covering on Christmas Day. And a few other bits and pieces. He works as the Yule Cat. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the Icelandic word. I just remember it's called the Yule Cat or the Christmas Cat, or the Yule Lads. Those are all sort of, I guess, anti-Santa archetypes. Here we have another one. Apparently, I think he was punished by Saint Nick as well. And he basically just works, as I said, like an anti-Santa. So he finds latest obedient naughty away in the sack, and then just leaves them in the dark forest, where apparently they are never found, which is very dark and twisted. Especially for a myth to do with Christmas time, because normally you see the typical anti-Santa archetype, you immediately think, oh, like negative presents, things like that. Not carrying off children to isolated death or cannibalism leading to Wendigos. Wendigos are another topic for another day. So, now we can actually get into the history part of this, because believe it or not, this one actually has a historical reference for a change. Sharp. That isn't a saga for a change as well. A saga or a story. It's an actual documented historical character. So his real name is, I actually have it written over here, is Hans von Trotha. I am sorry. He was around in sort of for the 15th century, sort of, let's see, 1422 I think was the first time he was recorded. And then we've got and then I wrote down a reference here, 1480, so he's sort of mid to sort of late 15th century. Which is still sort of, I think, roughly medieval times. Forgive me if that's wrong. So, obviously, as with a lot of places, especially in history, you work in a service of a local, we call them lords. This guy. I will have sort of like photos coming up every now and then, sort of who I'm talking about. But yeah, local lords. Yeah, basically, you know, someone sort of big, powerful, you know, looking cool, like that sort of thing. So you'd have someone working in service of one of them, whether it's by choice or by birth. Yeah, either way, they're working in service of them. And this guy is similar. He worked with the electors. It's one of those, and courts Palatine, and I believe the Palatine. I think the Palatine was actually technically, just judging by it, like an elected lord technically. Just from just from brief skim reading, and I only wrote down sort of bits that were relevant to him. But yeah, that's actually sort of giving you guys an opportunity. Tell you what, that's something you can do in the comments. Talk about, if you know it, talk about what an electoral palatine is, or electoral palatine. One of them. Anyway, the Rhine area, which is this area here. In Heidelberg. I really want to apologise for all my pronunciations in this. This is one of the reasons why I try and stick to Central Europe as often as possible, and even then it just doesn't work. Anyway, here we go. Here we go. Now we get to the actual bulk of it. He while he was in service, from I think it was 1422 to about 1480, I think maybe a little bit. He proved himself while he was in service of Lord, which we actually have a name for, which is nice. Although I don't really get this trend of the. I mean, because you've got Athelred the Unready, you've got I can't remember anything else. Oh my god, no, Alfred. Wasn't it Alfred? Was there Alfred? Oh no, I can't remember, but we'll use Athelred as the example. So we've got Athelred the Unready, and then we have Philip the Sincere. I also like that sort of starch difference. I know they're from two basically completely different time periods, because the Athelred was, I believe, around 900 No, couldn't have been 900 BC. 900 AD? Sometime around there. And this is the 15th century. So it's still a bit different, but I just love the sort of different pronunciation, different describers. Anyway, back to it. So he proved himself in service of this lord type. Him to hereditary fiefs. I couldn't work out why they were hereditary. I guess they're either hereditary to Hans or the electoral that we were talking about. Called, I'm actually going to have to hold this up here, Bauerstein and Grafendam. Please do not shoot me in the comments. I am trying. And this next bit I can remember, and I think this is probably where this anti-Santa bit came from. So, as one of the things that's sort of well known is sort of like the order of, I think it's the Byzantine monks. Byzantine. I remember this. I swear it's the Byzantine monks. These dudes, Byzantine monks. And there was sort of like a group of them in the area, and they had an issue with Hans getting the Bauers castle and with everything in it, because there was sort of like a lot of riches and stuff that the monks sort of, I think, was it that they owned? Yeah, they owned them. And well, going off of that, we all, I think it's safe to say, we all know that I don't think anyone really likes it when someone takes something that technically belongs to you. So they, of course, went to the Elector Palatine, Philip, who said, no, no, these are ours. And they went to him for protection, and he still went no, and he actually backed him and sort of sold him every sort of possession, which sort of made them annoyed. Which sort of got them very pissed off. But you can use that as sort of a example of maybe why this sort of anti-Santa archetype came about. Because if you think about it, Saint Nick, you know, is a very religious aspect, and he's also very relevant to Christmas time. So if you put two together, you put someone who isn't liked by probably a big part of the religion and a very influential figure, you have an anti version of that figure. I mean, obviously there's a lot of anti ones that related to Saint Nick, maybe a few that we'll cover in later episodes. But for now, sort of all enjoyed learning this one. And I hope you all learned the repercussions of doing anti-religion stuff against people who are part of that religion. I hope no, because I'll be doing that was it. 25th of December, we will be covering another legendary, this time a legendary creature again, surprisingly enough. And we will be covering the Krampus. The Krampus, some of which obviously a lot of you will probably know, but a few of you may not. So that's sort of why we're covering it, and also because it's another Christmassy one. So I hope you guys will enjoy that. We'll also probably be covering a few different bits and pieces as well as sort of the weeks go on. So until then, I hope you guys all sort of have enjoyed this one. We're doing a specifically themed one. I may do Valentine soon because that one's just hilarious. Until then, stay safe, have fun, and I'll see you guys in the next video.